Welcome back to Make It Up Life. My name is Amber, and in this video we'll be talking about movement because it's been a month since we've talked about it. So as you can see from the background, I am at my mother-in-law's house and we're here for a little bit. And while I was here and we were planning on coming here, I was like, I want to make sure that I get some movement in because a lot of times while I'm here, I tend to neglect myself, and having the goal of a daily walk helps me a lot. So, just in review, I don't know exactly when I filmed, I know I posted the step video a month ago, but I'm not sure exactly what time frames. I didn't give dates in it. So I was going back in my previous records, and so I have my step averages for the weeks in August and September of 2025. And so in August, it was 4,800, 46, 49, and then I ended on a high of 5,000. So that was my average steps. And I know once I had the last video saying you get steps with crochet, I've been trying to take off my watch while I crochet so it wouldn't skew the numbers a whole lot. And then for the month of September, I had 4,000, 38, 43, 4,000. So I think in overall, in review for the last 2 months, I'd say I'm basically averaging 4,000 steps a week. And that's all fine and dandy. It's nice to know where I'm starting from. But I do know that for the majority of the time, I was not intentionally walking or trying to intentionally get any exercise or movement into my day. And I would like to change that because my weight continues to just float upwards, and I don't want it to float upwards because as it floats upward, then my clothes stop fitting as well. My energy goes down, my self-esteem goes down, all those things. So, like I said, with the idea that we were coming here and going to be in a different environment, I wanted to make a goal for myself to get movement into my day. I give myself grace for the last months because in September we were sick a long time. Like easily 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks out of the entire month we were sick. So the fact that I even averaged 4,000 to me is pretty impressive. So since coming here, I decided I wanted to aim for my step goal, which I forgot it was 6,000. I still have an old number in my head as 7,000, so my goal was 7,000. Even though all my trackers celebrate a 6,000 now. So my intention was to go for my morning walk, because if I go for my morning walk and if I get my yay, you've completed your exercise ring announcement in the morning, then I'm much more likely to get my steps during the day. So it took a little bit. The first day, the first day of the week actually started in September, and it was 5,000, which I'm like, hey, to me it's interesting with goals because we have these lofty ideas of what's going to happen and everything, but I also think that when we set goals and we have this plan, we should also have a minimum of, yes, I want to shoot for the stars, but I really, on the very basic level, I'll succeed if I do X. So in my mind, I'll succeed if I go for a walk, because any walk is better than no walk. So the fact that I didn't get all my steps that day, I was still succeeding because I did go for a walk. So that was Monday. And on Tuesday, I figured out a route in the neighborhood that would take me 30 minutes to walk. And as a result, it'll also close my exercise ring and it'll give me that boost of, yay, I'm getting this done. So it turns out that about 30 minutes, the distance is 1 mile, 0.73. So almost 2 miles. And my comfortable pace is 19 minutes a mile. If I'm really have a fire in my step, I can do 18. If I'm really not feeling great, it's usually closer to 20. but a comfortable pace I can just continue walking. I can feel like I can go for a long time and not have any issues is 19. So it doesn't surprise me that 30 minutes gets me a little less than 2 miles. So I found a route. It's a little bit challenging to begin because I'm walking uphill, but the vast majority of the route is mostly flat and paved, so that's nice. So on Tuesday, I got my 7,000, and the week got kind of repetitive and boring because Tuesday through Friday, I got 7,000 because I went on my walks. There was a day or so there that I had an appointment where I had to leave and I didn't wake up early enough to get the full walk-in. And I was a little bit frustrated because that meant I didn't get my "your ring's closed" announcement. But ultimately, by the end of the day, I was able to get the steps in. I might have done a little bit of walking right before bed to get it in. And that did happen several nights as I go to sit down in the evening to do my little tracker and see where I ended. And I'd say, oh, I'm only within like a couple hundred for my step goal. This is silly. I'm going to get up and walk. So that did happen several times in the evening. Yeah, it's a good chance it might even happen tonight. But I did give myself grace for the weekends because the weekend schedules are never the same for me as weekdays. Weekdays, I have my own routines. West has his own routines. You know, the vast majority of the time he's going to work and I'm waking up, and our wake up and sleep stuff is completely offset. I'm usually waking up later than him. So my morning routines during the week is just completely different than the weekends. So sure enough, on Saturday Saturday and Sunday I did not get my walk-in, and consequently my steps were nowhere near it. So on Saturday I got 3,000 and on Sunday I got a little over 1,000. So I really just sat still. But I also, it doesn't really bother me because in the long term, if I want this to be a long-term habit, which I do, I'm going to be including a rest day. And so to have a really low step day on Sunday doesn't bother me. I'm like, the definition of a rest is to sit still and be still and not expend a lot of energy. So if anything, I'm kind of bummed that Saturday wasn't more because I know I did do the grocery shopping, and I kind of wonder if the Apple Watch doesn't necessarily get all my steps in when I'm pushing a grocery cart. So I kind of wonder if I really got all the credit I should have on Saturday. And I had in the back of my mind wanted to go on a couples walk on the weekend, but it just was not conducive. Part of the problem is we are in September and it's still hot. That's just wrong. Actually, we're in October. It's even worse. We're in the beginning of October and it's still hot. And like in the 80s and 90s, and I am so ready for cooler weather. And this morning, when I went for my walk, I actually got a taste of the cooler weather, and that was nice. I came home and I said, wow, it's kind of chilly. And West is like, yeah, it's in the high 50s. I'm like, well, then if you do high 50s and just rained and be walking in the shade, yes, it's going to be cold. So, but that was nice. And there was leaves on the ground, so it's the promise of changing weather at some point, and not just sweltering hot. Just hot in October, I don't like it. So that is where I'm at in terms of my step goals and my movement. I'm also trying to get back into some physical therapy on my neck because there is a thought that some of my headaches and migraines may be coming from neck posture. As you can see, I don't have the best posture. I am definitely forward, and a lot of things I do is forward, crocheting. What else do I do? Crocheting, painting, playing with dogs, cooking. It's all forward. So, and I say try getting back into PT because I'm having my appointments, but I'm not doing very well at doing the homework. There is challenges being away from home and not having my supplies, but then that's also an excuse because there were some very basic movements that she's asked me to do that I could have done, and I didn't. So, need to get back into that routine because if I want to see progress and I want to have relief, because when my shoulders are back and my chest is open, it is relieving until my muscles fatigue and I go back to being forward. So the only way it's going to improve is to strengthen those muscles so they can be stronger and last in that position longer. So, but in this season, I am definitely looking for small habits that I can sustain over a long period of time. I can feel the desperation and the frustration building within me, my body and my capabilities and all that sort of thing, and just going, I want it to be different. I want to find the master plan. I want to create the system that has all the answers. Just a lot of that kind of thinking, and I'm really pushing back on it, saying there's no perfect system. There's nothing that's going to stick and I'll be able to do the same thing now until whenever and have the same results. Life is not cookie cutter, and it's not cut and dry, and it doesn't repeat itself. Yes, it feels monotonous and there are patterns of repeating, but there's no perfect system. So I'm trying to find very small, very repeatable habits that I'm willing to commit to over the long period of time, and just say, this is not just a short-term change to get the results I want. It's going to be a lifestyle change and all of the positive things of my health have often come from walking. That's usually the first step, no pun intended. So it feels very natural to say, just start your walks again. Get your daily walk in. It's good mentally, it's good physically. It really does something for me to start my day off and have something checked off that is truly filling up my cup, and I know beyond a shadow of doubt is actually good for me mentally and physically, and I'm not waiting on someone else's schedule to do it or accomplish it. And it's just something that it's a small win first thing in the morning, and that's always a good thing. It sets the tone for the rest of the day. So I hope that you also are able to find ways to intentionally move your body in ways that are sustainable, or ways that are repeatable, that give you grace for your weekends and your different days and the days that you just are too tired. Like I said, for this goal, my bare minimum, yes, I did it, is I went for a walk. The actual, yay, I'm accomplishing everything I want to, is I get all my steps for the day. But if I go for a walk, then I have succeeded, because a walk is better than no walk. And usually if I can start the walk, I will be able to finish it. There are days I'm just too tired and I turn around and I have a short walk, but that's not the majority. The majority, I can negotiate with myself all the way through the walk, and eventually I just finish the whole thing. So, like I said, I hope you guys have had a good end of your summer, beginning of your fall. I would love to know what the weather is like where you are. Are you still crazy hot? Are you getting the taste and promise of fall yet? And how are you intentionally moving your body, but still giving yourself grace for being a human and living in a fallen world that is not consistent and is not perfect. So, until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Feel free to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Bye!